Check the record. Wait now. I was not there.
To the voices of the people.
We are suffering. This suffering is too much. It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They finish school. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ebuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Quite a weekend, a lot of happenings in and around Nigeria, starting with the fact that it was on Friday that Iran opened the Strait of Hormuz, and we're still hoping that they're going to have talks that would benefit the world and Nigerians at large, because we are still groaning, really groaning under the weight of the new price of oil that started with the entire US, Iran, Israeli bombardment and all of that. And of course, I saw a video over the weekend of school children, secondary school children as a matter of fact, who finished their final examinations, and we're seen in a video raising axes up, axes indicating that they belong to a confraternity known with the axe. And the conversation has been around how bad has the decay in our society gotten that children, now ideally secondary school I left at 16, so we are talking people give or take 16 to 18 and at most 19, 20, all things being equal, raising axes. We are talking curriculums of government, CRK, and they are raising. They have. I don't just know how we got here, but that is what we have seen ourselves. And of course, over the weekend there was also some political meeting. Oh, what, Frank? Is it a convention?
No,
or conference?
It is stakeholders meeting of
stakeholders
APGA.
meeting.
Of APGA heading, okay.
With the way that our man went about it, I became a tad bit confused why he was, But of course, APGA had a stakeholders meeting over the weekend in Oka. Frank is going to throw more light on that. And a few minutes ago, we got a report. There's been another incident in Kwara State, and some persons have been taken away. And unfortunately, we just keep counting the numbers. We are hoping that something is going to be done someday, and someday soon, decisively, about the security situation of the country. Speaking of the things I saw over the weekend also, I saw a video of this man that was referred to as a junior. Did you see the picture rather, of he spent, 9 months in a kidnapper's den, and then when he came back, he was a shadow of himself. The man looked very aged, looked really ill, and it's really sad. And to think that these people keep somebody for 9 months, 9 whole months, to what effect? But then, this is the Nigeria that we live in. Good morning to you. Welcome to the Polity. Today, Monday, the 20th of April, 2026. I am Chisom Chinedu. Franklin Ebuka is here. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Chisom. Good morning, Tony. And good morning to our wonderful listeners who are always there for us. So we thank you for always waking up with us and keeping your radio dial locked on Udala Radio on 4.7 FM. He talked about the man who was released from kidnappers' den after spending so much time there. If you were expecting anything less than somebody very emaciated, unkempt and what have you not, of course, it might not be, you might not get any picture far away from that, because if you know the kind of conditions that these people are subjected to, This very morning, I was going through the narration of one of the victims of the kidnapping that happened in Benue State. Those people who were kidnapped when they were on their way to Otobo, and one of them narrated how, they were kept for hours in one particular area in the bush, and then we became thirsty. They couldn't get water. Then at a point in time, they were taken to a flowing stream where cows drink from. That was where they were made to drink water just to quench their thirst. And when they complained of hunger, they were just given gari mixed with salt. So this is kind of situations that people who are under abduction, they are subjected to. So it explains why anybody who comes out from their den is going to look malnourished. That's why anybody who has one kind of ailment or the other, if he falls into their hands, the chances that the person is going to survive are very, very slim. Then you talk about the stakeholders meeting of APGA that happened in Awka. That was on Saturday, and we learned that it brought about the who is who in APGA, where they talked about how to chart a new course for the party. And interestingly, the party unveiled what we might call reforms that are aimed at entrenching or deepening internal party democracy, at the same time curbing electoral malpractices. Maybe by the time we get to the discussion proper, we'll be able to unveil all of them. But on the surface, it looks quite interesting, and it looks like something that is going to unsettle the political space based on what we have been known for. We know that primary is like a bazaar for party members, especially delegates. That's when they struggle to ensure that they get to become delegate because they are sure of money to the banks. But for APGA, they are saying that they are going to adopt direct system on primary, and this time around is going to be the one we call option A, for whereby aspirants are going to stand or their agents are going to stand. Then you go and queue behind them. In that very case, somebody cannot give you money, and then you now go to vote for another person. So it's quite an interesting one coming up. Then yesterday too, APGA also released the timetable for its political activities ahead of the 2027 general election. And if you look at the presidential form, the interest form and non-interest form, it goes for 75 million naira. But that's one interesting thing they said. They said that this time around, if you have an interest to contest for any position within APGA, first of all, you have to get your expression of interest form and you pay necessary due. Then if the party clears you, that's when you now go to obtain the nomination form. So in this very case, if you don't scale through, you might not have lost so much money in the process. So let's see how it goes in the coming days. And finally, political parties, I don't know how they are getting ready to ensure that they get to submit their digital register to INEC. Ordinarily, the deadline should have been tomorrow, but we know that INEC extended the time, giving parties some window for them to be able to do this. So any political party still undergoing registration should know that very soon the time is going to be up. So what that means is that they have to do everything possible to ensure that they work within time, because INEC has said that they said that as for now, the window is still open, but by May 10, the window is going to close. And let me also reference what happened over the weekend, where the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, came under attack and fire for asking or appealing to banks and petrol stations in Lagos State to open their toilet to the public. And some people didn't find it very funny. They were asking if government is abdicating its responsibility and then trying to woo, the public to open their toilets to people. But some persons saw it from a different point of view. They said it's all about the governor trying to see how everybody can work together to ensure that they get to curb open defecation, which has become so that's a practice across states in Nigeria. So I rest my case for you now.
All right, I saw the pictures you posted. It was you about the toilets that were built in Lagos State.
Yes.
And I was asking myself, what is really happening? Are they going to be able to maintain this? Because this is some next level kind of stuff. And if we have things like that in different parts of the country, I promise you, we're going to be curbing open defecation a whole lot. Because I'd like to believe that such systems like that are self-cleansing. So the idea of people avoiding public facilities because of the dirt and then preferring to go mess up open spaces will be totally dealt with. Of course, if only Nigerians would decide to stop, being animalistic sometimes.
It depends on how they want to go about the handling of the facility, because I believe that if government actually wants to do something and get it right, they can, because they have the resources to employ people who are going to do that. Let me give you an instance. There is one public convenience at Aroma Junction, the one they call, I think that should be Solution Park or whatever, close to Emeka Anyoko Boulevard. If you go there, you see how sparkling clean it is, because there are people who have been assigned to ensure that every morning, in fact, as people are going there, they are cleaning over time with disinfectant. So what I'm saying in a sense is, if Lagos State government could import that kind of thing I saw, and man them in some locations in Lagos to ensure that people can have access to public convenience when they are pressed, the onus is on them to ensure that it's maintained. Because for me, I say that Lagos actually must give it to Lagos. Lagos leads other states. Talk about rail system. That's the only state in Nigeria that has one, and then they're going ahead with this. So if they actually call it a point of duty, I believe they should be able to get the manpower who will be able to run that. If it means to give it to private individuals who can run that effectively, they should do that.
All right, then Dr. Tony Olisambeki is here with us. He's here to make sense of all of the matters on our desk. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chisom Chinedu. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, in the Anambra. Good morning, in the Onitsha Donidu. Good morning, in the Osumoho. Good morning, in the Afiande Olubo, the Nkuzi, the Nanye Foninya. Our investors and those who are of goodwill, because we cherish people of goodwill, people who have integrity, and whatever they say, they stand by it. And we must keep decrying the wars in our community, in our society. These days, what is common is car theft. I've discovered it, and it comes in a way people are not suspecting. You go to the market, park your car, and by the time you come back to pick your car or pick up your car, you will not see the car. It's something we must all put eye on. We will not, in fact, security around different markets should up their game. These people must be fished out. People that do this kind of rubbish in our state, we cannot allow them to go scot-free. That is becoming a man for them. They are normalizing it. Somebody cannot just lose car worth 20 million, 30 million, just like that. It's problematic. And these days, we've discovered that they will do it in a way that it cannot be tracked. I don't know whether they try to dismember it immediately as a way to prevent any form of tracking. It's something everybody should pay attention to. Tell anybody, your neighbor, your relation, if you're moving out, be careful with your car. These people, they are just everywhere. Having said that, I must also acknowledge our mothers. Yesterday was Mothering Sunday.
Oh, yes.
And of course, I have said it many times, without mothers in this world, what can we do? We be lonely, we be orphaned, we be handicapped, we be decimated. The love of mother cannot be equal to anything. I have to, say this thing from my practical experience. Even when things are wrong, when everybody maybe have abandoned you, your mother will still be there. Even Ikwi, his mother does not joke with Ikwi. No matter how ugly the Ikwi is, it tells you the love of a mother. And yesterday was their day. Of course, we appreciate the Catholics. They did it in a grand style. It's a day to remind us that we have a duty towards our mother. It's time for us to give to them. There are those that even at their age, adulthood, their mother or their mothers has to give in to them. It's shameful, no matter what. We must do everything to appreciate these women. They have tried a lot. They have borne all manner of things just for us to be successful, because the wish of every mother is for the child to be successful, to be where he should be. So yesterday we say congratulations to our mothers. Yesterday we celebrated you, and we'll keep celebrating you from time to time. And then we thank God Almighty for his mercy, for his love, for his kindness, for all he has been doing for us, for keeping us alive. It's not easy talking about politics from time to time, because Nigeria, we know the situation of things, but we'll keep serving the truth. This is our sanctuary, like I always say. This is the altar of the Most High. This is where our evangelism, our evangelical work, we don't just play with it. It starts here, and we keep doing it. Sit back and enjoy the program.
We're going to...
Sorry, before you come in. So, Tony, I think I mentioned this thing last time. If you check the world calendar, you see that Mother's Day is on May 10th. And last Sunday was Modern Sunday for Catholics. I think 2 weeks ago, or about 3 weeks ago, it was Modern Sunday for Anglicans and others. And I'm asking myself, is there no possibility that these things all these days can be harmonized into one?
Thank you.
So that Donado everywhere, because I don't know why in a year we have like
777 Mother's Days.
I don't know. I don't know. Not
Deal with it.
I'm not jealous or whatever, but I'm just wondering why. And all this is happening within the Christendom, and we have Khan. So is it not possible that this thing can be harmonized?
I think the problem is, let's go historical, because I like bringing historical perspectives. Modern Sunday or Mother's Sunday dates back to 16th century. It was, I think, a religious observance, not a modern day Mother's Sunday. And Christians were encouraged to return to their mother church. That is main cathedral. That's how it started. Returning to your mother's church. Mother church means cathedral. And over time, it became linked with visiting family, honoring mothers, giving gifts of flowers. But originally, when it started around 16th century, when we talk about 16th century, you can imagine dates like 1521, 1541, 1576. Anything 15 dates, that's 16th century. That was when Mother's Day or Modern Sunday started. But it was built for worshippers to return to their mother church. That is, return to the cathedral. That's how it started. But over time, it evolved to the way, it is today. I know very well that the UN, if you look at United Nations, they did not create it. Of course, they did not start it. I remember that origin of Mother's Day was something that was founded by one Anna Jarvis. That was sometime around 1908, and it became official in 1914. But over time, you are talking about unification. We've seen Catholics, because they started it. We are the pioneers of Mother or Modern Sunday, and they have taken charge. And if you want to change the date without consulting them, that started it. Even, just like I said, before United Nations start talking about Modern Sunday, it was something, in fact, the modern day Modern Sunday, just like I said earlier, was started or was founded by Anna Jarvis in 1908. But it became official, and over time, different denominations started adopting it and all that. Remember, the Modern Sunday started in England. It started in England. That was in 16th century, and it was purely religious based. And if you are talking about unification, where do we go from? Because you have different denominations,
Okay, see what I'm asking. From going to the history that you just made reference to, of course, the Catholic began, the Anglicans joined, and if you look at issues around the Modern Sunday as being celebrated by the Catholics and Anglicans, they are based on the same thing, to honor mothers and then appreciate the mother church. The Anglicans, the Catholic, they share this same ground. For the Pentecostal too, I know too that it's all about honoring mothers too. Then talk about the Mother's Day that we mark globally on May 10th. It's also all about to honor mothers. Now, if you look at the Anglicans, they normally mark their own on the 4th Sunday of Lent. You look at the Catholics, traditionally too, they mark their own on the fourth Sunday of Lent. But if you look at this year's celebration, it didn't happen on the fourth Sunday of Lent. It even happened after Easter. That tells you that some things can happen and the date can vary. So given that there is no particular date for any of these very churches to mark this modern Sunday, so if there can be that harmonization whereby it becomes a unified thing, Ijana church in Kada, and on that same day, I feel that it could have more weight and prominence if we had that kind of unification within the body of Christ.
Well, it makes sense, because if you ask me, the need for unification, just like I said, the modern Sunday started in medieval Catholic Church in England, even before Anglican existed. We know when Anglican existed as a result of a lot of factors that played out. But over the time, we've seen the need for unification. But you know very well that as it is now, it becomes difficult, because you have the Anglicans, you have the Catholics, and Catholics, they believe that they are the originator of modern Sunday. So they expect everybody to key to their own game, to key to their own date as the originator, and they wouldn't shift their own date, because you can't just spring out somewhere and start your own and want us to align with you. So for me, I think the need for the bishops, especially those in Nigeria, because it's a world over thing, and even those outside, to see how they can do this. For me, I would advise the Anglicans to key to the Catholic dates. Very simple. Why? Because they started it. They are the originator. And for us to have unification, if somebody started something, all you need to do is to key to it. Especially when we know that Anglican came from Catholic. They came from Catholic. So the need for them to see if they can, but it involves discussion, consultation, and we're going to have unification. Not just Anglicans, even the Pentecostals, and even the Methodists. The idea is, since this very church started it, the need for us to come together and see if we can join their date. But let's have conversation with them. With that, we're going to have a unification.
All right, then we're going to tell you what the front pages of the paper say. But when you were talking about the car theft that has become rife in the state, I think the government needs to really do something about it. It is becoming really, really alarming, and it has called for great concern. You look left, there is a car theft. You look right, there is a car theft. People park their cars where they would normally park them, and they come back to find empty spaces. Something needs to be done. We have stopped kidnappers from roaming mad around here. We can also stop these car thieves. And we're going to tell you what the front pages of the paper say on our desk today. Just like every other day, we have the Punch, we have the Guardian, we have the Vanguard, and we have the Daily Sun newspapers. The Guardian banner headline here is election data at risk as hackers hold government agencies, banks to ransom. That's a cyber attack. On page 6, Serap condemns censorship of broadcast stations by NBC. On page 4, Lagos NMA removes chairman over alleged infractions. On page 5, SANU rejects 30% pay rise, threatens indefinite strike. On page 7, countdown to primaries and settles parties, triggers defections, internal disputes. On page 6, parents groan over rising costs of education as schools resume today. On page 7, systemic inefficiencies, cartels, maritime exploitations cost Nigeria $10 billion yearly. On page 4, terror alert, experts prefer measures to Nigerian airports' vulnerabilities. In page 4, 2027 Lagos APC warns LG chairman against endorsing aspirants. On page 5, 55% of children in Nigeria unprotected from mosquito bites. On page 3, FG denies revenue mismanagement tasks regional commissions. On page 3, and finally on page 29, Kwankwaso loses NMPP grip as Shekarao family joins APC.
Okay, so it's open, talking about the transfer window in the political scene in Nigeria, so it's ongoing. Then let's go to Daily Sun newspaper. Imo leads in domestic debt reduction. Lagos raises portfolio. The story is on page 25. Backlash trails FG's move to tap unclaimed funds for 100 billion naira loan. Okay, the big story there on page 6 says ADC splits over presidential ticket. Party leaders divided over Atiku Obi Amechi Kwankwaso. Nigeria not turning to one-party state, ex-PDP BOT member on page 27. Rising fuel, energy costs drive Nigeria's inflation, experts on page 5. Then offer robbery, how federal DPP cleared Saraki on page 4. I saw over the weekend saying that the governor of that very state is trying to reopen the case against Saraki. So I don't know whether it's all about politics, perhaps. Maybe that could be one. There could be one thing that Saraki is into that might threaten his political ambition, and then they might want to find a way to derail him at this point. And then the last story we have on the front page of Daily Sun says SANU plans indefinite strike as April 30 renegotiation deadline approaches on page 28.
On the Vanguard newspaper, banner headline here is recapitalization crunch, 12 insurers at risk. Page 11, regulator insists on deadline. Some insurers consider scaling down. Routine raid turns fatal. Did policemen kill fleeing youth or he drowned? That's on page 10. Attempt to gag broadcasters. Atiku, Syrup, Amnesty International, Islam NBC on page 9. Pirates abduct 20 passengers, including UTME candidates in Calabar. Interesting. On page 6, ADC leadership Y3 rival blocks are locked in do or die battle. Page 5, Shekarau dumps PDP, joins or rejoins APC as Yusuf welcomes move on page 30. 2027, Enugu West backs Tinubu Mba for second term on page 28. Governor Abdul Razak Saraki at each other's throats over of a robbery on pages 6 and 30. Odain Jumogobia chairs Vanguard Personality of the Year award on Friday on page 8. Farmers, food entrepreneurs brainstorm for sector growth on page 13. That's according to the Vanguard Economic Discourse. And on the state of the nation, Nigeria trapped in flawed security architecture. Niam has that to say on page 14. And finally on page 40, World Bank report, no leakage in federation revenue. That's according to the federal government.
Okay, so over to the Punch newspaper. The big story says 2027 battle lines. APC may scrap consensus plan in Flashpoint State on page 2 of the Punch. The writers say party may side with governors as Fintiri, Rebadu, Sule, Abdul Razak camp deadlock. President may step in to resolve impasse in Nasarawa Kwara Damawa. APC to roll out NAS governorship presidential primaries timetable today. Another story says earlier 6 exam shift as rescued UTME candidates narrator deal on pages 4 and 5. Why IMF World Bank loans cost developing nations more. G24 director on page 27 of the Punch. NDLEA intercepts cocaine hidden in food flask at Lagos Airport on page 5. The ingenuity drug peddlers are evolving these very days for them to see how they can, take this drug off the eyes of NDLEA. It gives much to concern. I've seen drugs hidden in children's gator. I've seen drugs hidden in food. I've seen drugs hidden in different kind of thing. But what I must give to NDLEA is I don't know whether they work with intelligence or if they have any kind of electronic maybe electronic equipment that helps them to detect actually that drugs are hidden in such places. Because why would you even think that somebody can hide drug in flags like that? And the way they do is that they will seal it. They will just seal it the way it is, that you won't even think that very well. Last time was somebody getting a can. He used to can palm oil, remove the palm oil inside, then put the drug inside and resealed it as if it's palm oil inside. So we must give kudos to NDLEA for what they have been doing. Of a robbery, Kwara APC PDP spar as DPP report clears Saraki on page 7 of Punch newspaper. Beside the nameplate, FG votes 1.4 billion naira for Boko Haram terrorist trial on page 7. About the nameplate, we have 3 headlines there, and one of them says pay rise. Sanu rejects FG's 30% offer on page 8. Petrol price drop in doubt after Hormuz disruption on page 27. Petrol price drop in doubt after Hormuz disruption. El-Rufai alleges plot to stall release on page 8 of the Punch newspaper. These are the headlines.
All right, then we're going to start the conversation proper at this point, and we're starting with the NBC, and it's NBC against broadcasters at this point. But don't forget, we are live on Facebook. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is our handle, and of course you can drop your comments right under the video of the show, and of course like, follow and share the page. And so we understand that on the 17th of April, that's about 3 days ago, the NBC, that's the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, National Broadcasting Commission, pardon me, NBC, sent out a formal notice citing a rise in breaches of the Nigeria Broadcasting Code now, warning stations against actions such as expressing personal opinions, allegedly intimidating guests, or failing to maintain neutrality. The Commission also warned that as Nigeria enters a critical electoral period, the airwaves must not be used to propagate misinformation. Amnesty International has described that notice as outrageous and a desperate attempt to muzzle the press. Article on Saturday night said the Code of Conduct Advisory was yet another troubling attempt to muzzle the media and shrink the space for free expression in Nigeria. He noted that the country's media industry had grown into a formidable institution respected globally for its resilience and professionalism, adding that it was alarming that the NBC resorted to heavy-handed directives whenever elections approached. Also, we understand that Serap has said something, Article has said something, and some other civil society organizations are asking questions concerning this directive handed over or handed down by NBC. Now, I am curious to find out, Tony, is there anything different from this and all of the directives that we have had in the past? I mean, the NBC is a regulatory body, and from time to time we have had NBC issue directives, and there are sanctions when stations or media outfits step out of these regulations. We have seen some of these sanctions clamped down on, and we have seen some of them upheld. So what is really special about this directive that is making all the, would I call it, stomachs boil?
Well, we are talking about NBC yet again, because we have seen this from time to time, especially during or before political season. Just as we know, this is the season, this is political season, and we are talking about the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, which is the statutory regulator of broadcasting in Nigeria, because his powers and duties are mainly from the National Broadcasting Commission Act and the Nigerian Broadcasting Code. In fact, in practical terms, they shape how radio, television, journalism is produced or aired. I'm also aware they have other roles and duties like issuing license and vetting quite a lot of things that go on air. Outside those, they have their code. Of course, the codes are something that before it being issued, the practitioners, because we have media practitioners organization, we have board and other stakeholders, they come together to see to that. But we are looking at their latex warning. But before then, I must also let you know that some of their roles, I wouldn't say all, some of their roles are backed by the NBC Act, CAP, and 11 Laws of the Federation 2004, and also the revised code, which is done periodically. The last we heard from them was the appeal court ruling. We had the appeal court rule that they don't have powers to sanction airing broadcasters. When I say broadcasters, I mean the broadcasting stations outfits. They don't have the powers, because we've seen from time to time where they issue warning to you for one thing or one variation or infractions. They will just issue warning, and if that continues, they will sanction you. And sometimes the sanctions comes in form of fine, but that has been settled by appeal court. We appeal court ruled categorically they don't have such powers. If somebody has violated any of the acts provisions, you must bring the person to court, and then the court will also ensure fair hearing, because the principle of OD or terror party is very important as far as in adjudication is concerned. Now, going back to what we saw the other time, because we know very well there are different styles or forms of presentations, especially when we talk about political programs. You have argumentative and confrontational style. Yes, like if you look at somebody like Mehdi Khan, the one that interviewed Buala the last time, his style has always been argumentative and confrontational style. And if you are in such heat with someone or with a guest, maybe some people may see it as the guest trying to, or probably the anchor person trying to bully the guest. But the person may not even know that the style of the presentation is argumentative and confrontational. We've seen that many places or many, in many crimes. We also have another style of presentation, authoritative and declarative style. The anchors do lead monologues or expert-led analysis is a style. You see it even analytical or interpretative style. That one is mostly the one NBC is okay with, because it talks about balance, views, and also data-driven. There are other styles of presentation. You also have partisan or advocacy style. And there are so many of them I can go on and let you know. Because most times NBC we pressure broadcasters to ensure neutrality, to ensure that every side is given equal opportunity and all that. Remember, we still have investigative or satirical or even humorous style of presentation. It is there. There are people that will use satire. There are people that will use humor to press home whatever they are trying to present. And also the issue of maybe normal style, the one we have in Nigeria, the guest question type of presentation. Only what the guest does is to ask questions. And I remember this started when Nyesom Wike threatened Shegun Okinbaleye of Channels Television, because there was a question he asked, and possibly he didn't ask the question the way Wike had wanted, and Wike suddenly said that if he had a gun he would have shot him. But Wike later clarified that he was speaking figuratively, that he never meant that very statement. When Wike was pressed further, why would he even speak figuratively? By a kind of imagining such scenario, he said that the guest or the anchor was putting his own opinion, that he shouldn't have put his own opinion, that he's not allowed, he's barred from sharing any opinion. That's what Wike was saying, and that was why he spoke figuratively, that if he had a gun possibly he would have shot him. Reason being that he was sharing his own opinion, which according to him is not part of principled journalism. And after that hit, just a week, NBC issued this warning. Now it becomes a case where the witch cries at night, the child dies in the morning. Just about a week ago, this part between Wike and the Shegun of Channels happened. The next we saw was NBC issuing what they issued. Outside that, well, we look at what they said, and they also maintain that the anchor person, the anchors of political programs, should not share any opinion, should not have the opinion. That's what NBC also wrote in that warning. It conforms with what Wike said, even when we know very well that there are times, even not before now, even before this issue started, NBC would always issue warning that anchors should not in any way share their opinion. They should not make the opinion known in a political program or in any program. Their own is to ask questions and also fact check the answers provided by the guests. And if the guest probably is lying, they will have to use facts and data to show otherwise, that those things they are, so the guests may be saying, is not supported by facts and figures. These were some of the things they usually do. But the concern now is The spat happened last week. The warning is coming immediately after the spat. So many Nigerians are becoming curious to ask, is NBC working for Yeson Wike?
Okay, Tony, let me add something, because in as much as there could be no smoke without fire, but I looked at the statement which was issued by NBC, and I'm trying to understand the furore about that very directive. Reason is this: if you go through that very statement, I think NBC was categorical about what he's talking about. He's talking about, departure from the core principles of broadcast journalism, where we have seen some presenters breaching ethical standards on fairness, balance, and neutrality. Now, as a broadcaster, number one, you're supposed to be neutral when you are handling any political program. You're not supposed to align with anybody. Now, somebody will tell you that you cannot have absolute objectivity, but you need to be seen to be objective. Any reasonable person listening to you should be able to infer that this person is objective. Now, we are in the industry whereby we have broadcasters who are working for certain interests, who are working for certain parties. I had gone for a media event in Oka where, after the media event, the next thing I heard was APC journalists come this way.
Tell me about it.
It's not a joke. They say APC journalists come this way, and they went to have another meeting. Now imagine when you are an APC journalist and you're on air anchoring a program that has to do with negative review of the government. How would you do that? Are you going to be neutral or not? That's number one. Then they're also talking about the issue of presenters expressing personal opinions as fact. We have seen that happening. Now, let me make reference to the case that happened between Wike and Rufai Oseni. I cannot in any way endorse what Wike said. Whether he spoke figuratively or not, in the same country, he should have been brought in to answer how he wanted to have shot him. But look at his grounds. His ground is that in the course of trying to explain the lead into his program, she will say, we cannot allow such to happen. He said that, APC was doing things as if they're trying to take over everything, and he now said, we cannot. Now, the normal thing should have been, should Nigerians allow this to happen? For him to have said, we cannot, that was the grounds of Wicked. That he shouldn't have used that expression. One thing I have discovered is that many of us who are broadcasters, there are ways we should ask questions. And if those questions do not come out that very way, it comes as opinion. And when it comes as opinion, and you are pushing it as a fact, so you are guest, it's not being ethical. The other one is when you have a guest on your show. Your guest on your show is supposed to be treated with some respect. I have seen some broadcasters, in name of being journalists, in name of being broadcasters, in name of asking hard questions, they disrespect the guest. We're not saying that you should not extract the fact from them. You should hit them hard, but you must show some respect to that very guest. Your job is also to protect him. Just imagine when you have a guest and you ensure, and next thing you get into altercation with him, you ask him to shut up. It's a mark of disrespect. I've seen that. Then the issue of where we have seen broadcasters who, by the virtue of the interest they want to protect, they don't give that very balanced platform, equity to all. Now, if APC person comes, of course the person has free access. ADC comes, the person is limited. Or if ADC comes, he has access. If APC comes, it's limited. We do see that, whether at state level or federal level. In fact, it's a known fact that there are sessions you cannot go if you're not a member of APC or not a member of ADC or whatever. You will not be able to go there and speak freely. It happens, even here in Anambra State. So I got the point where they're coming from, but where I will have issue with them is where, for the fact that people are asking hard questions about the government of the day, they now want to control how critical people can be about the government. That is an area that we are going to have great concern.
All right, I think let me say this, because we know the role of media in our democracy. If you go by the provisions of Section 22 of the 1999 Constitution, in fact, media is one of the bodies mentioned in the Constitution, given role in the Constitution, is under Section 22, where you have the media, television, radio, newspapers, at all time shall hold fundamental objective principles of this Constitution and hold government officials to account. Is basically the role. Is there in the Constitution, and the Constitution for me supersedes NBC rule on NBC Act. NBC Act, the one I mentioned, is inferior to the Constitution.
You mean the code?
The Act. The code comes from the Act. You have NBC Act of 2004. You also have NBC Code, which is revised periodically. Now, the question is, how do you go about holding government to account? Remember one thing, there is difference between opinion and fact. When an anchor person speaks of fact, it's not an opinion. Opinion is different from what you think. And what you think and what is there in the public, they are two different things. So people should understand the difference between opinion and fact. If, probably, let me put it in this way, I'm a member of, let's say, one ZY party, and maybe I come out here for a political program, and the anchor person, she's some Chinedu, have it on ground verified that possibly during our primaries we shared money, and it was covered, and she has it as a fact. And I come to a program, and she puts it to me that we've seen situations where political parties do share money and try to buy their ways to governance and all that, and which a party is also guilty of, and you yourself, I don't know what you have to say about it. Somebody will now say, why are you expressing opinion? Why would you say my party is guilty of it? Why would you say? Because for those who were listening, they think she is expressing opinion, but she is speaking fact. Yes, she is speaking fact. She's not expressing opinion, because she has it on good ground. It is now left for her to say, we have it on good ground. We have a verifiable evidence that shows that your party shared money at the primaries for one reason or the other. We must distinguish opinion from facts, because journalists, even the anchors, they are allowed to express facts the way it happened, verifiable, not what they think. What they think is an opinion, but what is out there, verifiable, is fact. I don't want to go into what happened between the people you called, but we are just trying to set a record. Yes, it is important that an anchor person, remember there is a difference between an anchor and analyst. They are not the same. An analyst can express opinion, but an anchor cannot express opinion. Most times when we sit here, people don't even know the roles of an analyst and an anchor. People who are the anchors, they don't express opinion. They can express facts. But someone who is an analyst can express opinion. Well, the truth remains that we must set out some of these things.
And Tony, let's not stretch this too much, because we need to go on a commercial break. But the person that you identified as having triggered this new NBC directive is an anchor person, not an analyst.
Now, based on what he said and what Franklin said, Franklin quoted him correctly. Franklin said, he said, we can, there's a way he said it.
He said, we cannot allow this to happen. That's the way he said it. I mean, Shehu.
And if you look at that, it is neither here nor here. Two reasons. APC is trying to, put it again, APC is trying to,
it's trying to, make Nigeria a one-party state. We cannot
allow
this to happen.
APC is trying to make Nigeria a one-party state. We cannot allow it to happen. If it is fact, it's not an opinion. If Shehu, who made that very statement, can prove that it is a fact, it is never an opinion. But if he cannot prove it is a fact, it becomes an opinion which he cannot express, unless he can prove for a fact that APC is trying to make Nigeria a one-party system. And if he says we cannot allow it, he is right. Why is he right? He is doing his work under Section 22. But where it becomes a problem, where he has no evidence that what he said is of a fact as against being opinion. Let me put it this way: if what he said can be backed up with facts by him, he has not expressed any opinion. What he has spoken is what fact, and that fact he has spoken based on his own evidence, which he is liable to. He has just performed his work under Section 22 of the 1999 Constitution. But if he cannot prove it, it becomes an opinion which he has no powers to do.
I think the grasp there was the use of we, because that very we can convey the inference that we, okay, you are.
He's on the other side.
Exactly.
But that's the point. That's the nuance.
So it can convey that inference.
That is nuance. But if he says Nigerians,
exactly,
Nigerians, because that we. You don't know. We is more like a kind of a pronoun. You don't know who we are referring to. Exactly. Are you on the other side or this side? But if he had made it very clear, Nigerians or the media, it might not be the Nigeria. He can as well say the media will not allow it, because that we is a question. Who are the we? I don't even understand me. Who are the we? Are you talking about the media? Are you talking about the opposition party? Are you talking about Nigerians? So it is not a complete statement.
No, for me, in as much as I do not think that the reason NBC did it was because of Shehu Kimbaloye. Because if you have been following media,
this is the time they normally do this.
You will know that there are some platforms that now the window for campaign is not open yet. The people offer platform for people to come and campaign. It happens. And if you look at, there's another thing that we do in the media, which I have found funny. You bring a guest, give him a platform to malign somebody. When he's done, you say the opinion expressed on this program does not reflect our opinion.
No, you don't allow maligning.
But you did your platform for the thing to happen.
It's not professional.
So it's also one of the things that MC is talking about.
But
because if you use platform and put the disclaimer, by the time you go to court, I don't know whether that is going to work.
Defamation is always a crime. I remember when AIT.
We need to go on a break.
Let me quickly say this before we go on a break. I remember when AIT made a documentary against. Who was the person they made a documentary against? I call it Baudillion, Lion of. That's
Tinubu.
I remember Raymond Tepexi of
I'm
AIT.
surprised you are guessing. I mean, whenever you hear Baudillion, it has to be Tinubu.
He made that very thing, and Tinubu took him to court. He took him to court because for him it was purely defamatory, and they settled out of court. The truth remains that there are principles, ethical principles we cannot break. But in political program presentation, just like I said, there are different types. There are ways you can use to extract answers from your guests. You put those words. I think the person that advocated and then canvassed this was Tony Radia of former NTA. I remember he will put words in your mouth and you go on a defensive mode. It's a pure style. It's not about sharing opinion. It's a way of trying to extract something from the guest.
All right, thank you. We go on this break now. When we come back, a couple of other developments we need to look at before we open up the phone lines. Do stay.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
When you think of roofing, think of strength. When you think of durability, think of beauty. And when you think of all three combined, think Best Aluminium MFG Limited. At Best Aluminium, we don't just manufacture roofing sheets. We create protection, comfort, and style for your home and business. Whether you're building from scratch or repairing an old roof, we have exactly what you need. Our products include stone-coated roofing sheets, aluminum roofing sheets, and colored roofing sheets. But that's not all. We also offer residential and commercial roofing services, roof repairs, gutters, emergency roofing services, and even durable cookwares that bring quality to your kitchen. Visit us today at 30/32 Anyika Street, Awada Obosi, Anambra State, or call us right now on 0806 416 2374 or 0706 059 6203. Are you smart, confident, and ready to earn big? Do you have a passion for sales and marketing? Then listen up. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is calling on ambitious, result-driven individuals to join our team as marketers. No limits, no boundaries, just results and rewards. Work at your own pace, meet amazing clients, and grow your income. Sell it, share it, earn your way. Join Udala Radio and start today. Interested? Visit our station today at number 5 Okono Street, Onitsha, or call 0803-350-4206 or send your CV to udalaradio@gmail.com. Don't wait. Your success story starts here. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
So walking through other developments making headlines today, we understand that schools are resuming today across different parts of the country. Here in Anambra State, I think schools are resuming next week. I know. Most schools are resuming next week. And parents are groaning over the rising cost of education. And I am curious to find out if all of the increase in cost of education is commensurate with the present economic realities. Or is this a trend that has over time seeped into our system? It looks like from time to time there is this move by educators, school management to pick up even when they do not have to. The other day was an institution, I think it was here in Anambra, a nursing college, that we had students protest over the rising cost of the fees. And I am curious to find out why this is so, especially where some of these schools, institutions get subventions from the government. Why is there still the need to pick up or to pick the cost of education, especially where we have infrastructure not being commensurate with what is being paid? We have the teachers not earning so much. So why is there this need for school fees to increase and we don't have anything to show for it, Tony?
Well, the issue of school fees increments has been a normal thing because we are talking about inflation. When Naira is losing value, proprietors of school will also look to adjust so that some of the things that they usually get for themselves, for the family, or for the school, that they can also be able to meet up. Why the school fees, as we have it, usually go up, or we call it the hike in school fees, is as a result of inflation. Money losing value, the purchasing power being eroded. But the truth remains that over the last how many years, I think about 4 years or thereabout, we've had about an average of 200% increment in school fees across different cadres. 200%. And you keep asking this question, why? Because we know very well, yes, money is losing value. But why are these things coming in torrents, as keep coming from time to time? Each time a section closes, or even, would I call it a semester or a term, depending on the level of the school, parents will be wary that there will be increments. It is a matter of increment per term, increment per section, increment per semester. Even when we know that dollar has been, would I say, depreciated against Naira. The last I checked, what is the exchange rate? I think 1,300 and something. That's
1,300, 1,400.
Yes, but officially, I think 1,200 something. There has been some level of stability. Because what determines if we are having inflation or not is basically anchored on 3 fronts: the aggregate demand and supply, that is one. Secondly, exchange rates. And the third one, some unwholesome practices done to engender artificial change, either to create artificial scarcity, unwholesome practices. The other one has to do with aggregate demand, aggregate supply. The last one has to do with exchange rate. But I frankly speaking, exchange rate and aggregate demand and supply, these are the two major causes of inflation. These are the two major causes of inflation: exchange rate and aggregate demand and supply. We also have other factors, just like I mentioned earlier on.
But then I asked a question, Tony. Yes, these factors are existing, but are the services being rendered commensurate? Especially where, if I use the tertiary institutions, for instance, government gives subventions, right?
Yeah.
And I'd like to believe that with every inch of inflation, government may adjust the subventions being given. So what is this, or why is there a need? And to even speak about the increment, some of them are off the hook. Why are these institutions not looking for ways of generating funds? Why are they not looking for ways of cutting cost? Why put the burden on parents who already have the burden of so many other things in the society?
Well, I've said it many times, does the Nigerian government will pride itself and say that education in this country is cheap, that if you think it's not cheap, try elsewhere. Go to other countries, that they have done so much to bring down the price or fees in the education sector. But the truth remains that if you compare universities, especially fees in universities, if you compare that of Nigeria and Ghana, I will tell you that based on as of April 2026, the university tuition and school fees in Ghana are generally higher than in Nigeria, especially for public universities and for international or even foreign students. Let me put this in. No matter how you look at the exchange rate, because the Nigerian scenario, apart from professional courses, when I mean professional courses, I mean those studying medicine and surgery, these professional courses I mean. We're talking about other courses. The average school fees in public school is basically about 250,000 per section. That's average. 250,000 per section. But if you look at it from the angle of maybe dollars or thereabouts, that will possibly give you around let's say $100 or $100 per section, depending on the exchange rate, or about $150. Because if we are to take 225,000 for instance, it's going to be somewhere hovering around $150. That's for Nigeria. But if you go to Ghana, the average fee in Ghana is about $350 per section. What am I trying to say? That universities in Ghana are more expensive. But I understand. Ghana will tell you that our universities are well equipped, well taken care of, well maintained. Then you ask, even when Nigeria universities take about $150, we are using this as a case study. Are the universities well funded? Are the universities well equipped? Ghana attracts foreign students. How many Nigerian universities attract?
Let me come in with a question, but before that question, let me let this very background, because what you're talking about now is parents groaning because of the rising cost of education, and that we know that schools are resuming for another session. Of course, they went for Easter and celebrate, so they are returning to classes. And once they're returning for a new session, parents get to spend money on a whole lot of things. Some of them, they're going to replace their school uniforms, they're going to replace sandals, school bags, books, writing materials, or what have you not. You talk about the money they give them for feeding. You talk about the money they spend on transportation, like those who go to private schools that buses are to come and pick them. And now we have increment in the price of petrol. Schools are likely to increase how much parents pay for the picking and dropping of their children.
We are talking about private schools here, right?
I'm talking about
private schools. We are not talking about public schools.
Private school, but okay. I'm going to. Okay. My question would be a general question. Just talking about what is peculiar to private schools.
All right.
Then even in public schools, of course, you have to change school uniform, change school bags, and what have you. So these things have a way of impacting on what parents spend on their children. You don't talk about school fees, which in some cases they might increase. But all I know, like for Anambra schools, the issue of school fees is no longer the issue there.
Fees are free
for public school because there is a free education. But in the midst of all these challenges, because parents will tell you they are battling to see how they can save from the little they have and be able to take care of the needs of their children in terms of education. So it now boils down to how government can help. Is there any way individuals can help? Just talking about getting value from money.
Yeah.
And whether you are a private school or government-owned school, all of them are under the supervision of government. They're supposed to set a standard so that if parents are paying for such amount of money, or if they are spending money on their school, on their children's education, of course they will be able to get value for that money. So the question now is how we expect government to come in to ensure that these very standards are maintained and parents get value for their money. Then on the other way around, is there anything that can be done to help reduce the burden of education on many parents, and serve those who are indigent?
All right. Most times when I speak glowingly about Soludo, some will say, "You like this man so much." I remember why he brought free education in Anambra State. It's just to alleviate the plight of the parents. I think he's the first governor in Anambra State that has done that without any hidden charge. In fact, as we speak in Nigeria, there are some states that have free education even to the SS3, but there are hidden charges. But in here in Anambra, he's the only one that does it without hidden charge. And then he keeps reprimanding principals and head teachers that do compromise. That is one. Then talking about private schools, government can come in there, because you asked, is there any way government can come in? Yeah, of course. My problem with many private schools is that they are below standards. Parents don't even know this. Many private schools are below standard because how many of them have graduates of education or other discipline as their teachers? How many of them? Most times I've looked around, what we usually see is where somebody will finish secondary school looking for admission. Most private schools will employ that very person as a teacher and possibly pay the person 35,000 or 40,000. And the school fees become so exorbitant. So what it means that those private schools, those proprietors, they are mercantile. They are there for profit making. They are not there to render the service. And that we are.
So how can government come in? Because I'll give you an instance.
I'm coming in.
I'll give you an instance.
Okay.
If you go to some private schools we have in Anambra State now, whether it's mission, private, or whatever, or you see that just like the schools are going to resume now. You see, if you are going to pay school fees at the same time you're going to bring toilet tissue and what have you not, and you don't wonder the school fees you pay, what does the school use it for?
Let me shock you.
Now,
one of the biggest schools in 3-3, I have to pay for extra fees for Friday.
Let's quickly solve this.
So that's what I'm talking about, how government can come in, because this time Anambra State government announced that they're going to enforce the reuse of textbook. It's no longer if you use it throw away. This is it being enforced in private school? Because these are things that impact financial or rather increase the financial burden on parents.
I will support the idea where government gives subvention to some private schools only if they meet the minimum standard. Because you can't be giving subvention when you try to minimize service, delivery quality of service, and try to maximize profit. For me, government will have to come strong on some of these private schools. Many of them need to be closed down. They are there for, if you want to do business, go to Southward or go to main market. You don't use education as a profiteering business. You must render service. We are saying that not that you cannot make a profit, but you must render service. Government can come in by, like the way government does for mission schools. Government gives them subvention from time to time so that they can be able to lower their school fees. I think that's the grounds between the governor and some mission schools where the governor believes that akara seller, Okada man, he has said it many times to me, I hearing. He would want situation where can can go to DMJs, can go to CKC, can go to KRC. And they can only do that if the school fees are friendly. Because we know very well that some of these mission schools do a whole lot, especially in building capacity, in building infrastructure, in setting up a standard, winning awards. Government can come in to support their effort by giving them subvention so that they can lower their school fees in a way that these people the governor mentioned can also have time to be in those schools. Then other private schools, as we mentioned earlier on, government can set the standard. You cannot have people going for either jam class or whatever. You have them to tutor the ones in primary and secondary school, even when we know that some of them are intelligent. But standard must be maintained. You must have people who are well taught either in polytechnics or colleges of education or universities. Pay them very well, because some of these private schools don't pay well, and government comes in by supporting them. But you must lead the way. These private schools must lead the way. Many of them don't have the basic infrastructures, and they use their facilities for racketeering, jam, WAEC, and the NECO racket. That's what they use it for. Government can come and sanitize the urgent tables. If you cannot meet up this standard, close shop, and we can support you by giving you subvention so that you don't tamper with the standard, the quality of delivery. But at the same time, you must also take care of those who are there. The idea of a graduate being paid 60,000, 70,000 by private schools is not even up to minimum wage.
Well, some of them are paid 40,000.
That is the irony. And if you look at these teachers, many of them will take up many classes. And not just that. And not just that they will take up many classes. If you look at the school fees of a child in most of these schools will be as high as 80,000. The teacher is paid 40,000. That is a big irony. It's an embarrassment. The truth remains that there are things government can do. You ask, and I have listed some of the things government can do. Set the standard. Ensure enforcement. Enforce this standard. There are those who are not supposed to be there. For me, the government can begin by revalidation. Come and revalidate your license, where assessment will be done in terms of quality, teachers, infrastructures, and once you pass it, government can decide to give you little subvention to support you. These are things we can do. This is for private schools, but for public schools, of course, we've said it many times that they are free. And you know one irony? Most teachers you have in public schools are well qualified than those you have in private schools. I'm saying most teachers, because you cannot be a teacher in most of these public schools without having the minimum requirements. Of course, we saw the test they passed through. Just that many of them, because it's government work, they don't show that commitment. The difference between the public school and private school is that even when the private schools, they are less qualified, but they show more commitment and dedication, being punctual. But government school, even when they are well qualified, they don't show that commitment and being punctual. These things must be well sorted out, well looked into, and standards must be set. Then enforcement to ensure comprehensive overall good for the public.
Right, then let's take a break. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the developments. We understand that Governor Alia is seeking examination shift. Even as the students who were going to write their UTME that were kidnapped, they've been rescued. We don't know the details yet, especially what went down before this rescue happened. Also, APGA has unveiled its timetable, and the new reforms to improve internal party democracy. We'll quickly take a look at that right after this break. Keep it locked. It's the Polity, Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
The land is green.
For too long, realtors have walked alone. No structure, no protection, no unified voice. That era ends now. Welcome to the Realtors Summit 2026, a historic gathering that will redefine real estate in Anambra and Asaba. The Anambra Asaba Realtors Association, a platform for unity, influence, and collective power. And beyond that, a realtors welfare initiative built to support you when it matters most. Strengthen your career and secure your future in the industry. At this summit, you'll discover smarter ways to close and scale, multiple income channels in real estate, and strategies that move you from hustle to ownership and authority. Featuring Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki of Udala FM, Lovelyn Chinenye Nana, Property Boss, and Mr. Jude Igwebike, IT Professional. Date 2nd May 2026. Time 11 a.m. Venue 5-star Restaurant Hall, Stock Exchange, Onisha. This is not for everyone, but for realtors who are ready to rise. For inquiries, call 0803 276 0653. This summit is free, powered by Nebek Real Estate Limited.
It's green.
Searching for a place to eat good food and still enjoy premium relaxation? Stanley World Agwoka got you covered. Welcome to Stanley SFF Restaurant and Operiche Lounge Agwoka, where taste meets class. From hot, delicious local dishes to mouth-watering African and continental cuisines, pepper soup, grilled meat, rice, drinks, and many more. Everything is fresh and satisfying. Step into Operiche Lounge, a calm, classy environment to chill, hang out, and unwind. Perfect for friends, dates, and after work relaxation. Chop well, drink well, and feel cool morning, afternoon, and night. Stanley SFF Restaurant and Operiche Lounge, a haven for good food, great vibes, top security, and steady comfort. For further inquiry, call 0814-565-6920 or 0813-855-8009.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread. For your family breakfast, Wendy's bread. I'll pack it on the Tosialo, Wendy's bread. Mama, papa, they like Wendy's bread. Kitchen and duo, Wendy's bread. Even children, they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. And in town, Wendy's bread. You get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread. Wendy's your bachichoma. Wendy's bread.
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onisha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Are you smart, confident, and ready to earn big? Do you have a passion for sales and marketing? Then listen up. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is calling on ambitious, result-driven individuals to join our team as marketers. No limits, no boundaries, just results and rewards. Work at your own pace, meet amazing clients, and grow your income. Sell it, share it, earn your way. Join Udala Radio and start today. Interested? Visit our station today at number 5 Okono Street, Onitsha, or call 0803-350-4206 or send your CV to udalaradio@gmail.com. Don't wait. Your success story starts here. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
And so, Franklin, when we started the conversation today, you talked about APGA's stakeholders meeting yesterday and certain reforms or certain, would I call it, strategies put in place to make things better within the party. Would want to throw more light on that and, of course, probably shut out some politics before we round off.
Okay, so that was actually on Saturday when there was APGA stakeholders meeting that held in Norca, the International Convention Center. That was where it held. And at that very stakeholders meeting, we can say a couple of things stood out. One is that it was confirmed that APGA is going to have a direct primary to elect all the candidates for different positions, and it's going to be a option A4, whereby any aspirant is going to stand or his agent is going to stand. Then you go and queue behind that very person, just like what Humphrey wants to use in time past. He said they are going to go elementary this time around, so that if you are going to take money from A and B and then go to stand behind that person, you'll be able to fish that. Now the party is saying that what they want to do is to ensure internal democracy and at the same time curb some electoral malpractices. They want to stop the era of when primaries are coming, delegates are positioning themselves, aspirants are fighting over delegate lists, because Onyenka will try to smuggle some names who are going to favor him, that those are going to be things of the past. Then he talked about, APGA also talked about the issue of their registration, what have you not, how they are going to manage the primary itself. but there are questions out there which would like to respond to. One is that I've seen people who are asking questions about the ability to get these things done. Somebody said that it is easy to make statements, it's easy to make promises, but when it gets to be done, it becomes a different thing, whether the party will be able to walk the talk. That's number one. The another person asks about the capacity to be able to do this that the party has done. Talking about having direct primaries where at different ward levels the party will be able to conduct the primaries using option A4. And then another question is, if the party is going this very way, because the governor is now in his second term, so the issue of stepping on toes now that might cost his ticket is no longer there, Tony.
Well, I think we must first and foremost commend the party for setting out this standard. We're going to talk about implementation. Of course, trying to take the issue of party ownership to the grassroots. I don't know how many political parties will do this. When we talk about option A4, what does that mean? It was something introduced by Humphrey Nwosu during the presidential election we had many years ago. He was the National Electoral Commission boss from 1989 to 1993. He introduced that option A4. He invented it, in fact, all over the world. Where the people queue behind any candidate of their choice, and it is counted in open space. That's option A4. And there's a video. During the time of Funke Humphrey, there was no video. That's phone cameras. Now, I listened to the governor because I was there on Saturday, and I monitored every statement and implementation and question and answer sections. The issue is this: when people began to ask questions, how can this be implemented? The governor did say something. He said during councillorship congresses, that's world congresses that produce councillors for the party that will be going for the election, that some people that were made officers to monitor the election and the returning officers, many of them did not even go to the venue of where these congresses were to be held, where councillors will be elected as the party candidates. Many wrote names. That he understands those things. They are not season Ghana, but the ones they took were the ones people sent to them the video. They make the returning officers sent names to them, and if the names they sent to them do not in any way in conformity with the video of what happened, because he urged everyone during every primary APGA will conduct, use your phone camera, that if returning officer for the primary takes money or get bribed by any of the aspirants, the one sent from the video is what will be used, not the one the returning officer brings back. He made it and people started clapping. And he said they did it during the councillorship congresses that produce the candidates of the party for the councillorship. That is one. And secondly, he said quite a lot of things, that you cannot be in APGA if you are probably in House of Rep. Maybe there is a vacancy for Senate. You start running for office of the Senate while still in the House of Rep. That whatever position you won, you must serve there for 4 years.
So,
in line with
but wouldn't that amount to denying them their right to contest for another position?
Now the question is, he says that the party has about 200 followers, that few people cannot monopolize everything, and he said that everything about the party must be spread. There are those who have worked for the party many years.
So in that very case, is the party going to block people from aspiring for another position while they are holding sway? Because under the Nigerian law, what the law says is, if you are going to aspire for a position, so and so time you need to resign. Okay. If you are in an appointed position. Remember. So if you're a lawmaker, for instance, if you're a lawmaker in the State House or in National Assembly, and you want to aspire for governorship, no law asks you to resign or vacate your seat while you're aspiring.
Now, yes, there's no law. Just like you said. Remember, the issue of nomination has been treated by the Supreme Court to be entirely party affairs. And they can use screening. They can screen you out during screening. And they have reversed a way of doing this. You buy expression of interest form, then screening before nomination form. If you're not screened, there's no need paying for nomination forms. Before now, it's a case of where you buy expression form, nomination form, and then you come for screening. And probably if you are screened out, your money has gone. He said, no, you can't just lose money both ways. That this time around, it's all about expression of interest, then screening, so that you can buy nomination form. So now that is
Makes
one.
some sense.
Yes, because he said that people have been spending a lot of money, throwing money, and he told everybody, do not give, if you're an aspirant, don't give anybody money, not even the national chairman, not even party members. If you are giving them money, you are wasting your time.
Okay,
and he
Tony.
said, let me quickly round up. And he said finally, he wants situation where if you're an aspirant, you don't need to know or have connection with the governor or national chairman for you to emerge as the candidate of the party. That was why your brother is saying, started praising him, rolling down, saying that he's the most democratic person he has ever seen. In fact, he said, you people have seen it. That now he was urging people from Ifitogwale to go and register online and be a member of APGA, to vote for him during the saying a photo, saying a video. Everything will be in the hands of the party escorts, or maybe the returning officers, or the national chairman, or the national leader. You don't need to know anybody. Whatever your people said at that very space during option A4, bring the video. And he said that's what the party will use. Go and show your popularity, taking ownership to the grassroots. Don't give anybody money. Don't brother before and maybe season. And you wonder why that in the past in the party he understood that when they go chandum and when they go wayo and then they banana award you with dollar. He said he said us not a street boy call. He does all those things. And he explained his own experience that in 2010 the national leadership of APGA came to meet him to vie for governorship in 2010. And when he came out and he was told, he said it there.
2010 is 16 years ago.
Yes, and he said
16 years ago, he's saying he was 16 years.
And he said that when he was met, they convinced him and he told them, give me 1 year to think about it. And after that, they told him that let's go and do consultation. They went all around doing consultation. He came for screening. He was told he was disqualified. Then he was asked.
Was he even old enough to? Are you sure he
Not
said 2010?
I'm talking about the governor. What happened to him personally? He was trying to narrate his own experience where he went on consultation, meeting people after the national leadership of the party. The situation where the leadership of the party decides, no, the people should be the one deciding, not the other way around, that the people own the party. Now, for the implementation, he said, bring the video of what transpired, not what the returning officers say will be taken. If it is not in tandem with the video, that whatever primary that declares anybody the winner, the video is what will be used.
All right.
That's what he said.
Tony, let's move on from APGA because we're totally out of time. But I was curious to find out what you'd say about the 75 million naira pegged for the presidential form.
By which party?
APGA.
75 million paid by?
That's what I saw on the media today. 75 million naira.
50 million for nomination, 25 million for
presidential form.
Of interest.
Yes, for presidential.
Let me say this thing. When we talk about presidential election, as far as what I've known from APGA, APGA has not made a decision.
The timetable came out yesterday.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying.
I think the timetable came out, and it was in the same meeting that a decision will be made, because from the look of things, they are trying to adopt the president. There's no doubt. They are trying to adopt.
So are you saying that what was put out there is just cosmetics?
Optics. Because from the look of things, the party yesterday on Saturday, the governor said it. They are trying to adopt President Tinubu as the presidential candidate.
So is that fit to scare people away?
I don't know.
0803-221-6973 0803-876694 are the numbers to call to be a part of the Polity today. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Batmos. I'm calling from Osewu.
Go ahead, please.
I want to ask Tony, if the party ESCO bring out someone as a candidate, do the governor have power to take videos or whatever he was saying and say that the person in this video will now be the candidate of APGA without meeting the ESCO? Because the last time I checked, the party is supreme, not the governor. So, can the governor have power to stop or to make the candidate of those in the party, those working for the party, those appointed to see the running of the party, the candidate they presented? Now, the governor will now said, because of the video we are not going to take it. Where do he have the power?
Okay. All right. I think let me quickly answer you, because before the governor said some of these things, the national chairman was the first person that read out all these rules. He was the first person that read out the rules, the code of conduct. The national chairman said it authoritatively. So governor was trying to substantiate what the national chairman said. So it was not the governor trying to make the rule. I think the national chairman was the first person that said all these things in a formal way. Then the governor broke it down by substantiating them.
Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, a wonderful morning to Lady Chisom, Franklin, Tony Sambeki. Good morning.
You're welcome.
Seriously, Honorable Dick, and I'm bringing from Onitsha. We are we have drifted away from democracy. What we are practicing today under President Bach is something else. In fact, even this communism party you have in North Korea, in China, in Russia, it's even far better than what you're seeing here. We are almost into a one-party state. The president cannot allow opposition to breathe. Now, I now realize why he's giving those subsidy money to the governors, to lure them to one political system, which cannot do anybody no good. A democracy without opposition is not a democracy. These are things that when you look at it, governor decide who become the chairman of your yard, decide who become the chairman of the market, decide who become the PG of your town, decide who become the Igbo of your town, decide the local government chairman, decide what the state assembly will do. You know, this is unbelievable. I mean, it's so ridiculous. How have we gotten this bad under President Bach? A man that fought Madeko, a man that occupied Nigeria with his colleagues in 2012. This is the man we are talking about. Is he the same man, or he wants to turn Nigeria to become the KPAC, the next KPAC of Nigeria, that everybody will be bowing down to him? This is something else. And look at the way he's trying to get the press. The journalism, how, you know, the questions you need to ask your guests and the questions you need not to ask. Thereby targeting the likes of Sheun from Channel Television and even Oseni Rufa. For these are men that are standing in Nigeria today, and people like you are putting up right questions. So I don't really get this administration. And the way he does it, the governors are going after him, doing the same thing. So what do you expect in a state like this? I mean, do you call this a democracy or a tyranny or a communism? I don't really get it. Assuming Jonathan did what he did, or Muhammadu Buhari, with all due respect, I can still say that Muhammadu Buhari, who is a former military, is far better than this president we have, President Bach. Because he allows for free fair primaries. He allows free fair elections. Look at what played out under Mahmoud Yakubu. That's why Nelson Wike came on board, building mansions for the judges, trying to get them over, and he himself borrowing money to the governors without asking what the governors are doing with the money. This is something else. If we keep quiet, this president can still go for third tenure. It happened in Cameroon. This is how it started. And so you could say that province Obia has stayed there for close to more than 4 decades. It's recently that he just got a vice president. So let's, address this issue.
That'll be all.
You, the journalists, need to rise up, raise your game, and ensure that we do not drift back into this, what do you call it, communism party or a tyrant.
Thank you very much. Please keep it within 2 minutes. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, my name is George. To start with that, I don't really understand why some organs of government infrastructure in Nigeria will not let people do their work diligently. Everything must not be important. I don't really understand why we are like this in this country. We are not doing things like we are in Afghanistan or all these places that there's no freedom of speech and the rest of them. Because I'm shame to the citizens of this country, because I don't know why every time what a particular person in the power, you will see all the organs of the country swing in the direction of that person. What is Shehu even saying? It's a country remark. Say that people are trying to make Nigeria to be one thing that who is Shehu is not from Nigeria. The same we show from US. It's a Nigerian man. If the country is good today, yes, it's good. It will good for all of us. We will say as a journalist, just no. As a journalist, you're not supposed to say that there's a rule and regulation. No. We won't allow doubt. You understand? We could anything that is going to happen in Nigeria. It's included. In Nigeria is good, it's benefit for me. In Nigeria is good, bad, it's benefit for me. So let the organs of government, because I believe that this is the same people that say this thing now. That people will tell you that's their money. They're not the APC or Tinubu are not bringing the special money to be paying them. They pay them too. They pay them fire as they pay every people that is working under Nigeria. That's how we know. Let them stop taking sides.
All right, thank you.
From NBA today, judiciary tomorrow, INEC next. No independent. Who do people in the security apparatus in Nigeria? I don't really know why these guys are pushing us. Okay, you want to see silent. Immediately you silent journalists in this country. This country is gone.
All right, thank you very much. One more call and we head over to Facebook. Good morning. Let's head over to Facebook now.
Okay, so Obi Bekir Ismail Anja, thank you for following. Dr. Missy Molebra says all successive leaderships preach patriotism, but is observed more by self-serving lip service, evidenced by its predatory greed than by example. Patriotism must be encouraged until Nigeria is set from the siege of bad governance through committed and inspirational leaders. Divine Chena says Born is just trying to intimidate or silence media houses. Politicians have enjoyed enough protection from media houses by stage interviews and soft landings in the name of ethics, but it has got them to more irresponsible to the obligations. Media remains the voice of the masses and shouldn't be intimidated. Okay, from Monitor, let me say this. It's not actually Born, it's MBC, and I will also say this again. There is no profession that does not have ethics. We should take note of this. If you should take note of this, ethics, guidelines, and what have you not. And I just want to encourage people to go online, get that statement issued by MBC, and go through each one. Just go through so that you'll be able to understand what they are pointing at. Then, Rosrato Bia Wike Christopher, listening from Abatan Super, says, why is APGA talking about option A4 in this modern era? It is not only outdated, but an invitation for anarchy as a result of crowd control. It's easy to cause violence once one candidate is losing. The ones conducting the past were characterized by fight, police use of tear gas on people. Option A4 brings enmity and long-time distrust. Okay, thank you for dropping your point. Ichie Billion says, as for car theft in the Chinese environs, for criminals involved to dismantle the tracking device installed in the cars, show that professionals in ICT are involved in a crime. Chinese people are involved in this crime. My brother, there's no need for let me say, I'm sorry I have to go this very way. Let's even call this a spade. Here, people who steal car. I even learned that they have this device they now buy. Once they get your car, use the device to scan the car. Once that device shows that there is a tracker there, right there they know how to.
It will just dismantle the tracker, so the tracker of a thing becomes ineffective because they have scanners that they can use to run some disconnections, and they have this key, whatever they call that key, very powerful key that can penetrate most of the cars. So I'm encouraging our people to be out for these people, security agencies, Udogache, Agune Chamber.
Okay, so Amechi, and then thank you for following. Chelose Prince says he's writing from Onitsha. My take on the rate of car theft in the state. Okay, so he's saying that, Tony, remember some weeks back you said that Okay, let me go this way. He said, Tony, you remember that some weeks back you openly tried to bully Chisom after she said her friend's car was not at gunpoint at Anambra here, but you are now you said it was not true. The Anambra is secure, and now you're the one raising the issue about car theft. So later we'll get to that one. Chiki Nathan Akwobi says, Anglican mothers are already Anglican Mothers Day is already fixed. It's always fourth Sunday in Lent. Catholic own is not fixed, so they need to fix their. Please get your information right.
We good?
Just hold on. Please, just do a small research. You'll be able to know that what you said here is wrong. Amy Don, don't waste your vote on P2B. Give them to Tinubu. Governor Soludo tells Igbos. Okay. Ivan Sude from Monitor says, he's asking, of all the public schools in non-Chinese environment, which can you recommend for a friend whose child is in secondary school? I ask because I doubt if you know the true state of those public schools. I mean public schools, not mission schools. Mary Godwin Ekene, thank you. Master Bay, Oluwabe Favor, Joseph King, M.A. Don, thank you all for your post because of time, so that we'll be able to close the very program on time.
All right then, Tony, would you react to those comments and
I think
we round off?
I have always said most times I have noticed it's just problem of comprehension. But the truth remains that there was never a time I bullied Chisom. Somebody said you bullied. I think that's the wrong
Chisom,
word.
speak for yourself now.
There was never a bully. I think Chisom made a very statement that very day that somebody was, at gunpoint. I was trying to fact check. And I said, whatever I say, please fact check me too. Don't, swallow it hook, line, and sinker. Whatever anybody says, please do fact check the person. Don't be a blind follower. That's the problem we have. So many of us are blind followers. As long as it's this person, whatever he says is true. Now, fact check me. So if I try to fact check what Chisom said, and probably she brought an evidence that shows that what she said, why not? I am still saying Anambra remains the most safest state in Nigeria. The car theft, the one she talked about, was at gunpoint. The one we are talking about is not at gunpoint. You will park a car, enter into a market before you come out. The car has been taken away. Not at gunpoint, more like petty, the way it's a zone in the street. And it's something we must all be vigilant about. That's what I'm saying. Please, whatever I say, fact check me. And if you try to fact check me, it's not bullying. Please, that is one. And then somebody did say something about, there's another thing somebody said.
Public school that can...
Yes.
That we can recommend.
Yes, we discovered immediately the governor made the public schools to be free. We discovered there was a surge. People entered more, and the problem they have in most public schools now is issue of crowd. And I understand that there is need, because I know if you look at the budget of Anambra State 2026, education has one of the big allocations. More schools are, that's encouraging governor, I've seen it, I've cited it in the budget. More schools should be built, especially in the urban areas, like in the poor area. Someone was saying, which school? If you go to Ado Girls, it's a public school. Ado Girl is not a mission school. Urban Secondary School is not a mission school. Washington Memorial, even Metro Memorial. These are good government schools. And you asked me to recommend, please choose any of these.
All right.
Ado Girls came up top with, and I think there was something
out of time. Thank you very much. I think you should go do your research, ask questions around you. Before I put my child in any school, I ask questions.
Of course,
people around have the answers you need. If you're going to do
so
due diligence,
even our primary
thank
schools,
you for your calls and your contribution. Thank you, Tony, for your analysis. Franklin, the final shots in 30 seconds.
Public schools are not as bad as people do paint.
They are not bad, actually.
Now, the problem we have is that we have this hogwash mindset of the end thing now is public is private
schools.
So once it's private, we'll all go there. Maybe one day I will share experience I had with private school where, in fact, I had to go to the school to ask teacher a question on, about one assignment, and he couldn't answer me.
Okay. That'll be a story for another day. I've also had my own experiences. The Polity is going to make a return tomorrow, 9:15 down to 11 a.m. Until then, I am Chisom Chinedu. I'd see you at 12:25 on the Cherry Box. Stick around. It's Udala Radio 104.7 FM. 1 whole hour of amazing songs coming your way. And of course, at 12 o'clock will be the news at 12, or major news at noon, and 12:25. All of the trending gossip, trending entertainment, just everything that happened over the weekend right here for you on the Cherry Box.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7